Hello everyone, good afternoon, it's Sal, Stretford Post, how you all doing? And welcome to another episode of Chatterbox. Hope everyone's doing good, hope everyone's doing fine. Thank you so much for joining me today. Before I start, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and please don't forget to smash a like on the video if you guys can do that for me. Of course, the afternoon before, wasn't it? Of the afternoon or the evening before, Man United lost 1-0 to Arsenal. Of course, we've been digesting that this last few hours. Of course, it was disappointing, but there was a lot of positive to take from the game. Of course, the Man United performance was relatively better, of course, but still a little bit worried in regards to our scoring prowesses. We're not scoring enough goals. But we do know that will hopefully improve with the addition of Benjamin Sesko. Benjamin Sesko has just walked into the football club, so we can't be expecting him to start banging him goals straight away, of course. And Mbeumo and Cunha obviously haven't been here long either, as course, guys. And when you think about Arsenal are much more advanced in regards to their team. Of course, guys, they're much more further forward in regards to the players that play for them at the moment. Gyökeres has been here longer than Sesko, things like that, of course. And we absolutely dominated the game. And I know I've had Arsenal fans on me all day long talking about this, saying cry more, this, that, and all this rubbish, of course. But they need to look a hard look at themselves in the mirror because Man United dominated that game. And another day, Man United would have at least got a draw in that game, given it was a mistake at the end of the day, which cost us dearly, of course, like yesterday, of course. But we move on, we forget about it, and we have to move on, guys. That is what it's all about, of course. Just moving on. Next game, it is generally a must-win now, and that's what starts happening when you lose games at Manchester United. It becomes a must-win, and I do believe that this game is a must-win. Now, over the next week or so, I want to see action from Inos. I want to see targets. I want to see players that we're linked to. I want us to sign some players. I really do, because I generally don't think we're that far away. I really don't think we're that far away. We're literally a couple of players, a goalkeeper and a midfielder probably, away from actually being a force in the Premier League. Not to mention the right wing back, that is up to debate as well. I still don't believe that Ahmed is the guy as a right wing back. I know he's young, but, you know, the crossing is none and void, to be honest with you. But I think if we got the midfield and if we got the goalkeeper sorted out, I think Man United will be okay. I think we'll have a good season this season. I really believe that. But, of course, we have to do that. And Ineos have to prove that they want success on this football pitch. Signing 3 players, guys, is not going to convince me that we are where we are. We're Man United. We shouldn't be, you know what, having 3 players after we came 15th. It should have been a proper rebuild at the end of the day. Now, there was a lot of things that went wrong yesterday, of course, in regards to the team selection. I felt the team selection was wrong. I felt like Sesko should have started the game. But other than that, the game was dominated by Manchester United. And I don't want anyone to start talking about tactics now, because that proved to you yesterday that the tactics are not the problem. It's not the problem. Man United just need the players to fit that system. The attack inside the Man United's play yesterday was, I think, really good. And I think we're just missing that focal point up front, the Sesko, who we can get the ball to, cross the ball to, etc. When Sesko did come on, however, we did not cross the ball. And this was disappointing for me, because I don't want to be going down the road of Rasmus Højlund, where Rasmus Højlund doesn't get the ball. Confidence gets drained out of the player, of course, because he never gets the ball and he never scores, and he doesn't get a chance to score. And then we're here again, of course, looking for another striker. Sesko's a very good striker. We need to get him to the ball. And when you think about Alex Ferguson, when we signed Robin van Persie, Alex Ferguson said, you will not play for this football anymore if you do not pass that ball to Robin van Persie. And we all know what happened, didn't we? Man United won the league, and the rest is history at the end of the day. That's what I would say. So Man United need to fix up a few things. Stop being so selfish on the ball. Start playing as a team, because we are selfish, guys. We are very selfish. We also have to be positionally disciplined. Bruno Fernandes is not positionally disciplined. As you can see from his heat map, he's all over the place. Look, great players and players who play in a certain position and are disciplined in their position, their heat map is right where they are supposed to be. Bruno Fernandes is everywhere. And this is the big problem with Manchester United in regards to shoehorning players into position that's not their natural position. Fair play to Bruno. He always tries his best. He always wants to do what's best for the club. Of course he does. But when you're going out of position, you're also, sacrificing the player that you're playing next to and leaving him exposed. And this is something that we have to work on. And I think we will. We have put ourselves under a little bit of pressure. Performance was good, but we can't have a performance against Fulham if we lose, because at the end of the day, results is a results business. And if you don't get the results, we all know what's going to happen, don't we? we're not gonna progress, and we're gonna have a problem with the manager, and people are gonna start calling for the manager again, of course, guys. Now, obviously, the links have been continuing with Adam Wharton, with Donnarumma, of course. Hoyman is another one. Senny Lamens. There's a few players out there that Man United have been linked to, and ultimately, these are the players. These are the final master players, guys, who may come to Manchester United. These are the guys. Okay, so the ones that are being mentioned now are generally the ones that might come to Manchester United. Of course, I'm a big fan of Lamine Camara. I'm a big fan of Lucien Agume. Of course I am. I'm a big fan of these players. And I hope that Man United can look into these players because they'll be a cheaper option than some of the players that I mentioned. But I would be delighted if Man United fixed that midfield. I would be delighted if Man United fixed the goalkeeper. Now, look, I did say it, guys, for many, many weeks. People were screaming at me, the midfield is the problem, the midfield is the problem. I said the goalkeeper, mate. I said the goalkeeper all day long because the goalkeeper makes mistakes like he did yesterday. The goalkeeper goes from a 0-0 to a 1-0 loss or 1-0 up to 1-1. And I said that, didn't I? I said about a free kick in the last minute, cross comes in, goalkeeper fumbles it, goal. That is what a goalkeeper is at the end of the day. That is why you need a decent goalkeeper between the sticks. And to be honest with you, I don't think we have a decent goalkeeper. I really don't. I don't even think Heaton's that guy. We need a proper, competent goalkeeper who's going to be between the sticks consistently. Because every time you change your goalkeeper as well, the confidence of the team in the goalkeeper goes down. It goes, the belief in the goalkeeper is lower. The anxiety starts to increase. The indecisiveness starts to increase. And this is the problem. So Man United need to fix that goalkeeper position pretty sharpish. And once we got that done, that's it, guys. That's it, and we have to get it done, though. We can't just rest on our laurels and leave it, of course, guys. Absolutely. Big up everyone who's joining me today. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to the stream. Big up Jamie. How you doing, my friend? Sancho's virgin to leave. Garnacho's still holding the club to ransom, and this club's just allowing them to do it. Said anyone with 2 weeks to go and the window, it will cost us yesterday. Look, what I would say to you, Jamie, there's news coming out about Jadon Sancho, not about Garnacho, that Garnacho could possibly leave the football club. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Chelsea, I believe, are working on a revised offer for Garnacho. So hopefully that gets approved. Hopefully that gets accepted and Garnacho leaves the football club. However, in regards to Jadon Sancho is a petulant little child who just wants to throw his rat away his pram. He's spoiled. He's arrogant and he doesn't want to lead the football club, unfortunately. And it does look likely that Jadon Sancho will be running down his contract. Now, what can Man United do about that? Now, Man United could do a number of things. They could try and loan him out. Some other club with some of the wages paid, it's better than nothing. Or Man United could just throw him in the reserves and say, right, you sit in the reserves with the youth team and you do your business. But at that point, when I think about Sancho going into the reserves, I'm talking about a toxic player going into the reserves, putting his toxicity around the young players in the squad. And I don't want that at the end of the day. So it'd be great if Man United could somehow get rid of him, even on loan, just to get rid of him out of the squad. These are the problems, that we've been having over the last few years. And this is why we needed a full sale. A lot of these players would have had their contracts paid off and they would no longer be at this football club. A lot more would have been done, for us to potentially be more successful. And it would be equal more success if we get rid of Jadon Sancho, because it is a toxic player at Man United and it can harm morale and things like that, And when he's not playing, he's getting paid $300,000 a week, more than anyone else, by the way. 90% of our team is paid less than Jadon Sancho. So at the end of the day, it's not good to have him around. It really isn't good to have him around, absolutely. Jamie, this club and the board needs to show ambition this next 2 weeks and invest in the squad or the season could fall apart. One thing, the overriding thing is that Man United don't need much right now. We're not asking for the world here. We're not asking for absolutely spend 100 million here. We're not. We're asking us just to fix the goalkeeper, get that goalkeeper position fixed. And you know what? Maybe get a midfielder in there, Lamine Camara and Agume, who will cost significantly lower than an Adam Wharton, for example, or Baleba. Now, there is rumors circulating that Carlos Baleba is going to put in a transfer request. I don't particularly believe that, but I wouldn't be surprised if it happened this week. Baleba, of course, is disgruntled and disillusioned by the fact that he cannot leave Brighton and he wants to leave Brighton. But obviously, it depends on the character of the player. It depends on the agent as well. Agents generally look at for their own interest, and especially when it comes to money, the agent will look after his own interest. And if Manchester United are going to offer money, the agent is in line to make money as well. So if Baleba comes out and he says, look, I want to leave Brighton, I want to go to Man United, Brighton have to make a decision, because keeping an unhappy player at the football club doesn't make business sense on and off the pitch, of course. So look, I doubt that's going to happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but, you know, you never know. There is circulation, little murmurs here and there that it might happen. But Man United need to stop sitting around and they need to go out there and try and find some players, guys, because we are not that far away, guys. We've lost our first game of the season. Not ideal. Absolutely not. And now it becomes imperative that Man United do not lose against Fulham. Do not lose against Fulham. People forget that we got Man City, we got Liverpool, we got Chelsea coming up as well, guys. We got to win the games we're supposed to be winning. You know what? I honestly think we'll be all right. I honestly think we'll be all right. Play the right team. I don't think that team will start again, by the way. I don't think that will start again. But if we play like that, we'll be all right, guys, in my humblest of opinions, of course. Absolutely. Big up, John O'Connell. How you doing, my friend? Gourmet is the one. I agree, John O'Connell, a very good player, generational player. The next Baleba, some people are saying, will cost significantly lower. Why don't Man United go after these type of players, you know? And this is what I've been saying. Lamine Camara of Monaco, another player there, that why don't Man United go after these players? They're going to be a lot cheaper. They're going to have huge potential. Their ceiling's incredibly high. I don't know why Man United are not going for them. Is it the fact that they don't want to sign him? You know, and this is the thing. My general feeling is that Man United like to buy players that are shirt sellers, that sell shirts. For example, a Baleba would have sold a lot of shirts, for example. You know, they're looking at Lamine Camara and Agume and they're thinking, they're not really going to sell any shirts. They're looking at Wharton, they're looking at Baleba and Hoyman and players like that, and they're going to think like they're going to sell more shirts, of course. Absolutely. Emski, how you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you, mate. Will it be possible to sign players in these 2 weeks? Worried we might play a lot of money like we did for Casemiro and Anthony. Look, I don't think Man United will go down that route anymore. I do think we got an ownership or part ownership that are very aware of what can happen in this transfer window in regards to escalation of prices when it gets to the last minute. And this is why you have to get your business done early. And this is very true. Now, I would have liked to think that Man United over this last few weeks haven't just targeted Baleba. I would like to think that they have some sort of an agreement with another player somewhere else, whoever that player is. I would like to think that in an ideal world, that Inos would have had an agreement somewhere down the road in regards to they're a little bit more advanced in another deal somewhere else. I would like to think that, because that is something that we haven't done over the years. You know, we haven't worked on 2 deals at a time. And that is obviously a big problem, because when it gets to, you know, the end of the window and you haven't got your main target, where's the contingency plan? I hope Man United got a contingency plan, and I hope they get it, because at the end of the day, I know that this team right now can play good football, as they showed yesterday, can dominate against Arsenal, but are also prone to making silly errors and costing games. When we went 1-0 against Arsenal, 1-0 down against Arsenal, the overriding feeling was last season we could see the goal and we've lost the game. I didn't feel that yesterday. I felt that we were more in the game than we have been over the years in regards to going 1-0 down. I felt like Man United were missing just that focal point, the striker. I do believe if Ahmad and Sesko started that game, however, I do believe if they started that game, I think Man United wouldn't have lost that game. And that's what I would say. The Bayern thing is obviously a different one. Obviously, Ruben Amorim was very upset with the criticism of Bayern there last night, defending his player as he would do, of course. It's not going to throw him under the bus. It doesn't make sense to throw your player under the bus. It really doesn't, especially with the media. They're like vultures, ain't they? They're gonna use that, and they're gonna use it against Ruben Amorim. In particular, you remember the time when he called the Man United team the worst Man United team in history. We all know what happened with that. You know, and it's no point. There's no point. So obviously, Ruben Amorim's looking after the own players' interest, his own interest, and the players' interest, because he wants the player to play well. Now, Man United have a big decision to make. Man United have already made a mistake in this window, and I knew that it was a mistake by not fixing the goalkeeper position, and they could have done that pretty easily, in my opinion. That is their biggest mistake, in my opinion. And because I say that goalkeepers win and lose your games. They win and lose your games. I think our midfield will get us by. I don't think it's good enough. I think our midfield is going to get us by. Ugarte, who I've believed in over the last year, disappointed me yesterday. Some of the passes were wayward. It was a little bit clumsy, careless. And he can't keep doing that. Otherwise, we're going to have to make a decision about Ugarte, you know what I mean? And thankfully, we have Mainu, we have Casemiro, we have Kone in that as well. We have Collier, who's still at the football. No, Collier's gone on loan, sorry. We still have players there. Obviously, Bruno can play there as well. That can play in that central midfield. What are we going to do with Kobe Mainu? Kobe Mainu is not a number 6, right? He's not a number 6. He's a number 8. He can only play in Bruno's position. So it's Bruno or Mainu. So what is going to happen with Mainu? Because Bruno will not be dropped But no matter what happens, Bruno will not be dropped. And this is what's wrong at the moment. In my opinion, I think it's wrong that Bruno is exempt from being dropped from his football team. I think that's wrong. I think everyone should have a chance in this football team, equal opportunities and all that, especially when a player doesn't do that well. Now, Bruno's running stats were the best yesterday, the best on the pitch probably. But the running stats, as I did say, that the running stats are all over the pitch, around the pitch, right? So he's not being designated into one place. He's all over the place. And that in turn causes havoc within the system. When you have a system, you need players to be positionally disciplined. Positionally disciplined. Unless he has a free role, which is rare that you have a free role in the central midfield position, he shouldn't be all over the pitch, running around the pitch. He should be disciplined in his position, reserve his energy, and when the time comes, he bursts forward out of that midfield. That is what a number 8 does. But he wastes all his energy on tackling the right back, left back, centre back. I admire his work ethic. I admire his passion for the football club. But that's not how you do things. Sometimes, someone once said, intelligent running. It was Eric Cantona. Intelligent running. Intelligent running is important because you reserve your energy for running at the right times. Great players do that. And sometimes players who are getting on the other side of age, they do that as well. Kevin, how you doing, my friend? I hope you're doing well. Adam Walton would be a great signing. I agree with that, my friend. Absolutely brilliant signing, of course. Why not get a loaner player? I don't think Man United will go into that loan market at the moment, and it's very difficult to get a quality player on loan, guys. It is very difficult. Teams want money these days. Teams want money. They're not willing to loan. The only players that we're going to get on loan is players that are not necessarily going to improve our lineup. And this is the problem. We can go after players, but who is going to be available on loan that is going to improve Manchester United? And this is one thing. Teams generally, just like we wouldn't mind loaning Sancho out, teams generally don't loan out players they want. You know, and this is the thing. Why would we want anyone's leftovers? We need to just go out there, get the player we need, and move on. Even if it is a stopgap, as long as it's a quality player, get the player, and we wait until next season and see what happens next season. I honestly think we're not going to sign Baleba if we don't sign him this summer. I honestly think we're not going to ever sign Baleba. I don't think we will sign him. I don't think we're going for him next season. I think he'll have a great season this season. And I think the likes of Real Madrid, Barcelona, and whatnot are going to be after him, including Man City, Chelsea, Arsenal, and Liverpool, and teams like that. You know, Liverpool have been in for him before. So I think that this chance to get Baleba is probably over if we don't get him this summer. I think he will go to another football club, and he may even go abroad to a bigger club, of course. So, look, it's disappointing, but Man United need to move on, and they need to find someone. They need to find someone. At least fix the goalkeeper position, because the goalkeeper position cost us yesterday. As I gave the comparison in regards to Blunder and Raya. Blunder had the same cross as Raya did a few minutes later, and Blunder hit it into his own net, basically. I thought it was an own goal. It was Calafiori in the end, but I thought it was an own goal. So Blunder flacked at it when he should have punched it. Raya had exactly the same cross a bit later in the game, and he punched it away. That's the difference between having a good goalkeeper and a poor goalkeeper. A good goalkeeper takes the stress away from the defense. It takes the pressure away from the defense, and it calms the defense down. Big up. I haven't even opened my X account, Kenny. I had one tweet, guys. It's got nearly how many? 2,000 likes on that tweet. It's got hundreds of retweets. And a lot of those hundreds of retweets and thousands of likes are from Arsenal fans. Yeah, they are. I put a mute on that tweet. So what you do, you write that tweet, and you know what? It's a bit like, you know what? Something exploding behind you, and you're just walking away. You know what I mean? Just walking away, not even looking behind you. I wrote the tweet, and I left it there, guys. And let them cry, let them argue, let them fight. And that is why I do things. That's how I do things on Twitter. Because at the end of the day, I believe in what I believe in. And I'm going to say it at the end of the day. I got slaughtered yesterday for saying that the overreaction from Mason Mount's performance, I thought it was a little bit of an overreaction, guys. Right? Because I've seen great performances at Man United in my life. Do you know what I mean? Great performances in my life. And I don't think that we should be sugarcoating something when we just lost the football game, sugarcoating someone who done what they should be doing, running. You know what I mean? And it should be a given. Big up, Sanjay. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Big good to see you, of course. Big up, Tommy. What's going on? Good afternoon. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Good to see Tommy Ghost back in the stream, of course. Sancho should be confronted at Carrington. Sancho should be made absolutely. That's a good point, Sanjay. Sancho should be made, and you know what? He should be made accountable. He should be put in front of those players and say, this is the player that doesn't want to play for this football club. This is the player that wrote that tweet against his old manager. This is the player that is not leaving because he wants to make money at the end of his contract. Make him embarrass him. They need to embarrass him in front of the whole squad, in front of the whole team. This is what Ruben Amorim does, though. He does do that. He did say that, you know what, in training, when players make a mistake, they get confronted in front of the whole team. Now, I've seen a lot of improvements in this team. Believe me, I have. And I've seen a lot of positives. But the frustrating thing is, that we're so close, yet we're so far. Do you know what I mean? We need more players. We need these players out the door. We don't need these players causing havoc. It's pretty obvious what Jadon Sancho is doing. One thing is Jadon Sancho is running down his contract so he gets that big, massive payoff. Another thing is Jadon Sancho is doing it out of spite. Out of spite. He doesn't want Man United to make money. He doesn't like Man United. He probably doesn't like Ruben Amorim. He probably doesn't like anyone but himself. And this is the thing at the end of the day. So what I'm saying is this. Jadon Sancho will most likely stay at this football club. And what Man United need to do is make an example of Jadon Sancho. Make an example of him. Embarrass him. You want to hold the club to ransom. You have all the cards in your hands. Okay, let's see how you react when you train with the reserves. Or let's see how you react when you have to go on the coach, sit at the back of the coach, right at the back of the coach, and you come to the football game and you sit on the bench and you do not play, but you train up and down that touchline. And when I tell you, you train up and down that touchline, if you say no, you are committing gross misconduct and you're putting the club in disrepute and you will lose your wages. That's what they need to do at the end of the day. Absolutely. Tommy, Ugarte had one job yesterday to prove himself, but he messed up big time. Look, Ugarte, I said it. I've given him it. I always give people a chance in life. I really do. I always give players a chance because I don't like to dive right in head first and say he's not good enough, but in particular, if they don't have a preseason. But yesterday, he disappointed me. Yesterday, he was careless. I would have thought he's going to come out on that bench, come off that bench, right? I would have thought he would have come off that bench and really make a statement. I really thought he did. I would, like any other player that would have done, that wants to play for Manchester United. I don't get the feeling that these players, not only Ugarte, but a few of these players want to achieve at Man United, like really want to achieve at Man United. I'm talking about really sacrificing yourself, your body, putting your body online for the cause, for the football team. I saw a few fantastic performances yesterday, namely Cunha bursting through that midfield. That is what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Why can't Ugarte do that? You know, why can't he burst through that midfield with power like Roy Keane does? Because he's like, you know what? I'm okay. Pass the ball. Don't take any risks. Don't want to take any risks. Don't want to get myself in trouble. Blah, blah, blah. And this is the problem. This is the issue. You know, we don't have players who want it enough. You know, I saw some fantastic players yesterday. Dorgu, Mbumo, Cunha, brilliant. De Ligt, monster. Absolutely brilliant. Again, Lenny Yoro, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. We have to talk about Lenny Yoro. He's a young lad. This guy's brilliant, you know. But we also had some very average performances. Mason Mount did okay as well. I'm not going to throw Mason Mount under the bus, but he did okay. He did his job. But some of the other players there, right? Some of the other players there just didn't do enough. They just didn't do enough. Dalot average again, as usual. What do I expect of Dalot? Bruno all over the place. Again, ill-disciplined. What do I expect of Bruno? You know? And this is what I'm talking about. Amigi, how you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Why do you think Baleba was subbed off? I don't know, Amigi. Probably all the rumours surrounding his name. And he hasn't had much pre-season as well, as far as I'm aware, in regards to Brighton and Hove Albion. As far as I'm aware, he hasn't had much pre-season. And they probably took him off because of that. I don't read too much into things. I am hearing things that Baleba's going to hand in a transfer request. Look, guys, look. I would love him to do that because it puts it in Man United's court. It puts the ball in Man United's court. But I just don't know if he's going to do that now. With 2 weeks to go, do you think that Baleba is going to hand in a transfer request? Do you think that's going to happen? Look, I really do hope something like that happens. I dearly hope that happens, but I'm not going to bank on it, unfortunately. Tammy, Man U should break the bank for Baleba. They should. Look, what I would say is this, right? Ornstein said that there is a fee for Baleba, but Man United can't afford the fee, right? So that basically means there's a chance. There's always a chance. There's always a chance. Money talks at the end of the day. If Man United came into Brighton, went to Brighton, slapped 120 million on the table for Baleba, Brighton would accept it straight away. They would accept it, you know? But Man United are in no position to do that. Even though we need to do that, and in the long term, it's going to make us more money, Man United are not going to do that. Sadly, as it is, of course. And that would have been the game changer yesterday. If a Baleba played for Man United yesterday, Man United not only draw that game, probably win that game. He is the missing piece, guys. He's the missing piece in that middle. He's the connection between the defense, the midfield to the strikers. He's that guy. You know, and Man United dearly needed a player like that. Now, there's other players out there, as I've mentioned, Wharton, Lamine Kamara, Luciano Goume. These type of players, very good players. Højlund is more like your simple player. He's more like your Ugarte sort of player. And I don't think Højlund is going to elevate Man United to a level. I don't. I think he's just not above. He's not above Ugarte. Man United need to bring in players that are going to be better than what we have at the moment. If we're going to spend the money, they got to be better. Not only better, astronomically better than what we have at the moment, because that midfield is incredibly weak at the moment. Bexy, how you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. United will be a threat if Sesko gets a couple and gets United. I mean, Bexy, I hope he plays on, I think it's Sunday against Fulham. I hope he plays on Sunday. I hope he bags a goal. It would be absolutely brilliant if he did that. I honestly think we're gonna do all right this season. I think we're gonna be all right. Very impressed with Mbuma and Cunha, as I said before. Very impressed with De Ligt, as I said before. I do believe that a lot of these players are going to show up this season. Sometimes you can lose games that you don't deserve to lose, but the problem is that we can't lose again. Not in the next 10 games, guys. I'm honestly being real here. We can draw, we can do that, but I don't think Man United can go out there and lose 3 games before the end of September. I think that would be too much games. Like when you consider the likes of Liverpool, the likes of Arsenal, the likes of Man City are going to lose about 2 games all season. We have to try our best to not lose games. And Alex Ferguson always did say, you know what? You have to always try and get something from a game. You always have to try and get something from the game. You know, even when it's not going your way, it's going badly, try and get something from the game, you know? Ogmigi, Sancho is a big fool. Does he think United will lose by this stupid attitude? He remains the loser in this thing. The problem with him, I think, Ogmigi, my friend, I think the problem with Jadon Sancho is that Jadon Sancho don't care. He don't care what we think. He don't care what the club think. He don't care what Ruben Amorim thinks about him. He's actually finished with that. He don't care about it. He's rejected the opportunity to go to a great club like Roma. 20 million go to Man United. It helps Man United. Jadon Sancho gets an opportunity, guys, to get into that England squad. And the reason he will have an opportunity to get to the England squad is because of Thomas Tuchel. Thomas Tuchel's a big fan of Jadon Sancho, by the way. He's got the Dortmund connects as well. So Thomas Tuchel, he had an opportunity to play in the World Cup, right? If he went to Roma and absolutely smashed it at Roma, you know? Tammy Abraham has gone to Roma and done absolutely well, rejuvenated his career. No, there are players who have gone to Italy and rejuvenated their career, done really well. Rasmus Højlund will probably go to AC Milan and rejuvenate his career. This is what happens, guys. But unfortunately, it just seems like, as we expected, he doesn't care about football anymore. He's just finished with football. And one day down the line, when he's retired, he's going to talk to his grandkids about the way he played for Man United. And by that time, Man United, hopefully, fingers crossed, will be back. And he will forget how fortunate. He won't forget how fortunate he is when he retires. He will ask you. And as I said, I've spoken to a few footballers over my life, ex-pros. They've all said a similar thing. I wish I appreciated it more when I was playing. And when the player retires, all that hype, all that Instagram, social media, Twitter hype just dies down. It's gone. It's over at the end of the day. Now, big players have left and the careers are dead. That's why a lot of the players go into depression. That's why a lot of players get you know what, a little bit alcoholic, you know, and things like that. This is what happens, you know, at the end of the day. So what I would say is that, you know, he's going to regret it. He's going to lose. Trust me, he's going to end up losing. Man United are going to lose. Man United will move on. Man United will never die at the end of the day. And Man United will move on. Jadon Sancho will have his money. He will have his millions, but it won't make him happy because he's a nasty person and obviously a manipulative person, a petulant person. And obviously they know it. Dortmund know it. Chelsea know it, which is why they didn't want to pay the money for him. All that talk, all that love, all that family business from Chelsea, from Dortmund. There you go. It's right there in plain sight, live in living color. It happened with Man City when he was at Man City in the youth team. Why did Man City get rid of Jadon Sancho? Man City rarely get rid of young players like that, you know, at the end of the day. Big up, Gamigi. Big up, Johnny. Zelukas Ayub is a good player, Bawadi, yeah, and Quintin. What I would say, Johnny, as you said it there, mate, what I want to see from Inos, I want to see scouting now. I want to see imagination. I want to see creativity in this transfer window. What's left of this transfer window, I want to see clever. I want to see, wow, I never expected that. You know what I mean? I want to see that. The best players, in my opinion, in Europe at the moment in regards to up and coming are Lamine Camara, Lucien Agume. Those two players, you said it there, say Lucas Ayoub and Quinton. These are good players, but are they going to go for them? We've already missed out on Mastantuano. These type of players that we missed out on, that we didn't take a chance with, but he ended up going to Real Madrid when he could have signed him a year ago. Baleba, we could have signed him a year ago. We didn't go in for that one. You know, and this is the thing. You snooze, you lose in football. You need to sign these up-and-coming players. What Ineos need to do, and it's very easy to do, go on Google. You can find it yourself. Up-and-coming players in Europe, up-and-coming players in France, up-and-coming players in Italy, in Portugal. Look at them, and the names will come up for you. And then you'll look at their stats, you look at the way they are, you look at YouTube and think, okay, I'm going to go to that game and watch that player live. That's what you do as a scout. Unfortunately, I don't think Man United are interested in getting the next up-and-coming player. I think what Man United are interested in is selling shirts, is getting a name at the back of the shirt. That's what I think Man United are interested in. I don't think they're interested in getting the Ayubs and the Kamaras and the Agumes and players like that. I don't think they're interested in that because they don't sell shirts. You know, maybe you sell a few, but not in the region of Baleba or Wharton or something like that. Do you know what I mean? So this is what I think. This is why they're so tunnel visioned in who they want. They want to concentrate on doing this magnificent signing, the big signing that everyone's like, wow, to make Ineos look like, wow, look at Ineos. Ineos were right. Ineos this, Ineos that. But they don't have the facilities to do that. But they want to do that, but they don't have the facilities to do that. Do you know what I mean? And this is a contradiction because they want the reputation of them to go up because they know the reputation is not really good. It's not. There are a few who back them and forever for whatever the weather, they back them and that. But there's a lot out there and the majority out there who do not back them, guys, who do not back Ineos. They don't back them. And they're trying to impress the Man United fan base, but they're trying to impress Man United fan base on a budget. On a budget. It's like buying someone you love some flowers, but they're fake flowers. And you're like, just spray it with perfume every day. That's basically what it is. That's what Man United are doing. You know, they want this player, but they can't afford him. They can't get this player. You know, and that's what it is. And instead of trying to be realistic and finding a Lamine Camara, finding a Agume, finding these players, instead, they went and wasted 2 weeks on this. Now, I cannot fathom how they would waste 2 weeks on this. They would have known straight away that Brighton or Hove Albion would sell him or won't sell him. Do want to sell him or don't want to sell him. There's so many ways to communicate these days, guys. A little WhatsApp message, something like that. These guys are all connected. There's so many ways to do that rather than wasting your time on trying to sign on nothingness, on PR, because that's basically what it is, in my opinion. Kay, how you doing, my friend? I hope you're doing well. Maybe we should go and sell Garnacho for 35 million just to get Lamens and Gume. Kay, that would be absolutely splendid. And this is what I'm talking about, Kay. Absolutely brilliant. This is what Man United need to do. Man United fans are not going to turn around to Ineos and say, why are you signing Agume? Why are you signing Lamens? What are you doing? They would understand what you're doing here. They would understand that you're building for the future. They would understand that you're bringing players in. Look, Baleba a year ago, 2 years ago, was the Agume. Baleba 2 years ago was the Lamine Camara. He was that, but you've got to take a risk. You've got to take that risk. If you let him go, he's going to go to somewhere else. Lamine Camara is going to go somewhere else. Senny Lamens has already had Inter Milan hovering over him at the moment. We're close to losing out on that one as well. Another one to add to the list. Senny Lamens looks close to going to Inter Milan if Man United don't act quickly. That's another goalkeeper gone. So who we got left? Emi Martinez, and we got obviously Donnarumma, who hasn't made a decision yet about his future. So let's wait and see what happens. Tammy, Sesko is good to go. To thing is, Dorgu should improve his crossing. The one thing I would say, Tommy, about that is that Dorgu had no one to aim for yesterday. There was no one in the box, mate. And that's what happens when you have a false number 9. However, he's 20 years old. And when Sesko plays, you're going to see some balls in the box. I thought he was really good yesterday. I thought he was really good yesterday. And I think he was one of our better players. When he grows older, I remember Dennis Irwin at 20, right? I'm that old, okay? I remember Dennis Irwin at 20. I remember Gary Neville at 19, 20. I remember all these players, guys, at 20 years old. They're retired now, for goodness sake, I remember all these players. And I remember they couldn't cross for nothing, guys. They couldn't cross. You shouldn't let them work in a church because they couldn't cross. At the end of the day, what I would say is that they improved as time went on. As time went on, they improved as they went on, as they kept playing. This is the same with Dorgu. Dorgu will improve. He will get better, but you've got to be patient. You've got to be patient. But I thought he was brilliant yesterday. And I think when Sesko gets back in that team, you're going to see a very good Dorgu. Maza, what's going on, my friend? How are we doing? Yes, bro. Love the content. United Stand have gone mainstream. United Stand have gone mainstream. United Stand. What's happened with United Stand? Big up, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Kenny, basically running like a headless chicken. Exactly. Big up, Kenny. Hope you're well. Why was Mount marking Saliba though? I don't know, mate. I really don't know. I just don't think. I think Mason Mount does a job. Mason Mount is a player that does a job. He does a job, and that's about it. No frills. No frills. I don't know if you ever went to a supermarket called Safeway. Their cheap products were called no frills. They're basically white packets with black stripes on them, and they were called no frills. They were the cheap. You could buy a packet of crisps for 5 pence. All right? So basically, that is what Mason Mount is. No frills. Do the job. Run around. No frills. And that's it. Great to have in a squad. I'm not saying that. But he's definitely, absolutely never should get ahead of Mbeumo, Cunha, and Sesko. And I said that before the game yesterday, and I was angry yesterday. People saw the stream yesterday. I was angry. I was fuming that we didn't play Mbeumo, Cunha, and Sesko. Because I know that if we would have played them, I envisioned it. I envisioned that we won't win that game if we don't play those players. Playing Mason Mount as a false number 9, this is not an FA Cup tie, and we are not Rochdale. That is what Mason Mount is. That is what he does. Neil Gunnar, what's going on, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Big up yourself. Hope you're doing well, bro. Hope you're good, Neil. Good to see you. Of course, again. Midfield and a keeper would guaranteed good season. I agree with that. I do agree with that. I think we get a midfielder, we get a goalkeeper, it would absolutely fix the team immensely. I don't know why we think Sancho would leave. He doesn't want to play football. He wants money, and unfortunately, he gave him crazy wages. No one will match half of that what he wants, and can't afford him even. I think that Roma actually offered, I think 80-something% of his wages, and he still said no. That guy doesn't care. As you said there, Chasen, that guy there, he don't care about football. He's done with football. I knew that a year ago too. I said he doesn't care about football. He's just here to mess about. He's here for vibes, and that's it. John O'Connell, we will not have enough to sign Wharton. Let's sign a Gume. Let's wait and see, Danny B. Let's wait and see. Maybe we are. We'll see. Big up, Danny B. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. 100% doing it out of spite. Put him in the reserves of the under 16. No more lunch for this fat. Absolute mate. Embarrass him. Make an example of him. This is what Man United need to do. Embarrass him. Make an example of him. That's what we need to do. Some people think that's petulant. I think that's what you need to do. This guy is a child in his head. Treat him like one. Treat him like one. You're not training with the main team. You're going over there, mate. You know what I mean? You're going over there on your own. You're not coming close to this football team. And that's what they should do. I don't think he cares, to be honest with you. That's the thing. John, we have had enough time to sign Wharton. Let us sign a Gume. I would love to sign a Gume. You don't understand, John O'Connell. I would love to sign a Gume. I really hope we do. Generational player. Shouldn't be sleeping on this player. LT, big up Sal. If yesterday's game doesn't make the owners wake up and back Amram with what he needs, which we all know is a CM and a goalkeeper, and as for the free prats who don't want to leave, it's just a bore. Yeah, mate, at the end of the day, Garnacho, I think, does want to leave. I think he's determined to leave. I think he wants to go to Chelsea, but Chelsea are going to have to pay the money. Apparently, Chelsea revising an offer for Jadon Sancho. Let's hope that materializes. If we can get one of them out, it's still a failure. Anthony, crybaby, he doesn't want to go to anyone other than Betis. Betis don't want to pay for you, mate. They don't want to pay the money for you. They don't rate you like that, mate. right? And that is what Anthony needs to say. Someone needs to go to Anthony and say that to him. Anthony, look, you like Batiste, right? Yeah, I like Batiste. Okay, Anthony, why don't they want to pay for you then? Why don't they want to pay the money for you? They don't rate you like you think you do. Go to somewhere else. There's other clubs out there in Europe that would love to take you. Tammy, my friend, Man United should go get a keeper at least. Lamens is cheap. We have the money, absolutely. John O'Connor, Bruno takes risks and slaughter for it. Yeah, when you take risks, like a manager would take a risk with a transfer. When you take a risk, you get it wrong, you get blamed for it. You get accountability. The thing is with Bruno, he's not disciplined. Disciplined is one of the biggest things in football. He's not disciplined positionally. Look at his heat map yesterday. It's all over the place. Striker, defense, even down to the goalkeeper. He's all the way back there. What we need is a player to be disciplined in his position to make sure that, you know what, the midfield is covered because that is the engine of the team. Not drifting off to the corner flag or drifting off into the north stand. Do you know what I mean? We need to have a player that is disciplined and we need to have a player that knows the role properly. Now, a Baleba would have helped that, and absolutely, a Gume would help that. It would help him a little bit more. But obviously, I do think, and I will never change from my position, that we should have sold Bruno. I don't want to be hearing about we got no money. We can't afford this. We can't afford that. If we're not willing to take 100 million for Bruno. But as soon as we rejected that 100 million, I was like, well, you know what? I don't care what they want to say about what players they can afford, what players they can't afford at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, they're the ones who rejected 100 million, wasn't it? You know? Bruno takes the risk. So big up, John. Ugarte is low in confidence right now, like Holland last season. He might need a new club and fresh start away from Old Trafford. Jason, I don't know, mate. I don't know. At the moment, we need Ugarte in this team at the moment because he's not going to be going anywhere. So hopefully, I pray, fingers crossed, he has a good season. He had some good games last season, by the way. We're not saying that he had some bad. It was bad all the time. He had some good games last season. And I hope he can come good. It is the earlier this year. I would stress, guys, it is the first game of the season. It is the first game of the season. You know, things happen on the first game of the season. It's a new team. You know what happens with a new team. You can't win anything with kids in 95, 96. We know that. I'm not comparing to that. But you know what? The first game of the season is not an accurate picture of what the season is going to be. After about 10 games, we're going to generally know what Man United are and what we're not. You know, and that is it. And look, we after those 10 games, we're going to have an easier ride. We should have an easier ride. We're playing Liverpool, Chelsea, Man City. We've already played Arsenal in the opening 10 games. You know, and once we pass that, if we come over the next 9 games unscathed, right? So how many? What's 10 times 3? 10 times 3 is 30. Takeaway is 27 points to play for. I don't know if my maths is wrong. There's 27 points to pay for. 9 games. Right? How many points should Man United get out of those 9 games? Realistically, I'm expecting nothing less than 6 points, Burnley and Fulham straight away. 6 points right there. Right? Then we're going to play Man City. We beat Man City last season. We've proven that we can beat Man City. So then we're going to see what happens with that. Big up United fan. Big up. Big up Stephen, by the way. He just came off in a knee injury. They are loan managing him. Big up, Chasen. Big up. Who came off in a knee injury? We need to score. We need goals. Absolutely, Tommy. And we do. This is the biggest problem that Man United have had over the last couple of years. If we had Qatar or a rich owner, players would have Wharton and Baleba would already be signed. Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. Your honest, your honest disbelief from the debrief on Sunday. I think people are overexaggerating. That's best we played in a long time, in my opinion. It is the best we played, Scott, and I think that it is better. But obviously, I would say that we're not ready yet. There's a couple of players that still need to be there. The biggest frustration for me, Scott, is that Man United are nearly there. They're nearly there. They're not as far as people think, as you said. They're not as far as people think. But we need to get those players in, right? Because we have a decent, competent goalkeeper. I'm talking about even if we had a League One goalkeeper in goal yesterday, we would have drew that game minimum. You know? Man United need to get those positions sorted. They do. Because that is what's the frustrating part. I'm not bothered about what the players, right? Because I thought the players did okay yesterday. I'm not bothered about the manager. You can lose to Arsenal on any given Sunday. That can happen, right? They played well and they dominated Arsenal. The most possession we've had against Arsenal in 10 years. The most possession we've had against Arsenal in 10 years, guys. So look, I want Man United to have the best opportunity possible. I want Ruben Amorim to have the best opportunity possible, and that is by bringing in the players he wants, the goalkeeper and the midfielder. Jay, I can't believe Jadon Sancho rejected Roma. He's spiteful, mate. Honest to God, honestly, guys, absolutely. He don't give a shit about football. He's motivated by only money now. He always has been. Ramo, Sancho only interested in tattoos and money. I agree with that, Ramo. I added money to that. J Red, I am not surprised. Absolutely. LT, you legend, what's going on? I want a similar performance when we play Fulham, but with Sesko up front and hopefully us close to signing a centre midfielder and planning to sign a goalkeeper before the window classes. Otherwise, I don't see us back in Amorim. Yeah, I hope so, LT. This is the last chance. This is their biggest chance. This is the chance for them to show, isn't it? Absolutely. Absolutely. Tammy, we really have to win against Fulham. We have to now. We put ourselves in that position now. We have to win. Absolutely. You can't keep falling further behind in this league. Cunha looks class, potentially world class. Absolutely. The way he drops into midfield to attack creates another aspect of our game. His acceleration was great, mate. He almost scored a couple of goals yesterday. He was, for me, the attacking man of the match. And look, guys, I saw some signs from Mbeumo as well. I thought Mbeumo had some signs. I could see things there. Mbeumo's not fit. He hasn't been here long enough to be fit. But when Mbeumo is fit, you can tell that he's going to be a dangerous player, definitely. Skrill, what's going on, my friend? I hope you're doing well. What about signings like Heaven, Diego Leon, and youngsters like that? We do have signings like that. Inos have done a decent job this season when comparing to what Ed Woodward and co did back then. Dorgu came last year. Diego Leon came last year. They just signed this year. They were last season signings. Heaven is a good one. Diego Leon, hopefully, is a good one. But who else? I mean, they've done all right, but who else? No one, and that's what I would say. You can't just sign 2 players and then say, that's it, it's over. Right, we're good now. We've done our job. Get the next one. We need an attacker. We need a midfielder. Find a midfielder. Because I don't think Kone's that guy. I don't think he's, at the end of the day, Amorim obviously doesn't believe in him. I'm looking at Chido. Is he that guy? Because Amorim doesn't believe in him. So let's wait and see. Let's not smoke up their backside, because at the end of the day, we came 15th last season and we signed 3 first-team players. I'm talking about first team here. 3 first-team players. Sancho wants to stay. I bet he wants to. Yeah, he wants to run down his contract, mate. That's what he wants to do. I think United will sign a number 2 keeper, but with the potential to be number 1. Put pressure on him. Bexy, that's good. Yeah, that's a good comment. Probably Senny Lamens, who can be groomed into being the new number 1 and slowly drift that Onana out of the team. However long Onana's going to be there. I do think Man United want to sign Onana, but Onana doesn't want to leave. These players, and no one wants to leave Man United. It must be the best place in the world. It's money, isn't it, at the end of the day? Tammy, Dorgan Ahmed should start against Fulham. Yep, if we want to win, I don't want to see Dalot. Me too, mate. I agree with that, Tommy. I agree with that. Absolutely. They haven't done a decent job. No, not yet. They've done half the job this summer. Half, not even that. Ahmad and defenders begging. Yeah, let's hope he plays. Let's hope he plays. Let's go. We need to. What I would say, Tammy, in regards to that, we need to be more brave. And yesterday I used the word cowardice. I'm not saying that because I think Ruben Amorim's a coward, but it is a cowardice approach, right? It was a cowardice approach. Man United should have went a little bit more attacking than that. They went a little bit conservative. They went a little bit pedestrian yesterday. And I think that if we played Ahmad and we played Sesko from the start, we probably wouldn't have lost that game. Absolutely. I'm one of them. F Inos, big up, my friend. Safeway, yeah, I used to work in there, mate. I used to work in Safeway. Conte wants to sign Joshua Zirkzee. Well, they're going to have to pay a lot of money for him. We attacking not many crosses coming in. Sesko needs crosses. We have Ahmad weren't sending any crosses in story. I was disappointed in Ahmad yesterday that he weren't sending any crosses in. And if we got Sesko up front, I want to see crosses. The guy's 6'8", for goodness sake, something like that. Can Belabor please copy Wisa, playback, and force the move? We badly need him. Big up, big up. I don't know if they're going to sign. Smash the lights. Thank you so much, Neil Gunner. You legend. I hope you're doing well. Thank you, mate. Big up yourself. Accept the signings they have done, mate. Big up. We do. We have no option but to accept them. But we're not saying that they have done amazing because obviously they didn't. We came 15th. And what this team needed, Squirrel, what we needed was a rebuild. At the moment, we've not rebuilt anything. We painted the walls. That's what we done when we got a derelict building, you know? Yeah, don't worry about it. Everyone has an opinion. Jamie, you're allowed opinions. Don't worry about it. Lamen is not a right now keeper. You can't compare stats from a league that low to the Prem. I'm not sure about that because I think the goalkeeper is different. I think the goalkeeper, we obviously signed Peter Schmeichel from Bromby, you know what I mean? I think the goalkeeper is a different animal. I think the goalkeeper is a different thing. It's not an outfield player. The goal doesn't change size, by the way, when you're a goalkeeper. But Labour next season for sure. I don't think we're going to get him next season. I really don't. I think that's just blagging, trying to buy time. Sancho is a self-destruct crook. Absolutely. Jamie, ain't given credit for what neglecting the midfield and the goalkeeper. Any keeper is better than what we have. Agreed. Kick Sancho out of the club, says Jess. I agree, mate. I mean, but what can we do? But we'll have to pay off his contract, don't we? At the end of the day, half of this fan base is pathetic. They treat Radcliffe like he's some god. What, the Chelsea supporter Radcliffe, which he is. I mean, I would ask anyone to ask Jim Ratcliffe to post a picture in a Man United jersey from before he wanted to take over the club. I bet he couldn't. Or a scarf, anything. Have a mug, anything. Bexy, United should do a deal with a sister club where players like Sancho go and train. He doesn't like responsibility, probably been raised by a single parent, just being honest, zero discipline. Could be, Bexy, could be. I don't know the ins and outs of his personal life, but he's been playing football since a very young age, Bexy. So he's had a lot of discipline around him. You know, he's played for Man City and things like that. He's had a lot of discipline around him from a very young age, guys. So, you know what I mean, Bexy? So what I would say is that, he's a grown man now, you know, unless he has some kind of issue going on upstairs, I don't know, but he's definitely not a good person. That's what I would say. Not the kind of person I would like to know, of course. The Lamens deal is an open goal, and it would make Bayindir see that he's surplus to requirements and possibly take Onana's place. Very good comment, LT, and this is what I'm talking about. Slowly being groomed to be moved out of the team in regards to Onana. If we get a Senny Lamens, you know what, we can slowly bring him into the team, and Onana can slowly be drifted out of the team. Do you know what I mean? Stanley. Bruno was responsible for that corner, which led to the goal. He tends to always lose the ball in our half that breaks attacks and counter attack by the opposition. And let me tell you something, Stanley. What is the similarity with what happened yesterday and what happened against Tottenham in the Europa League final? What was the similarity? What was the overriding similarity between the two? Bruno gave away the ball. Goalkeeper should have saved it. Two things. Same thing. Goalkeeper went down too slow. Bruno gave away the ball, which created the chance in the first place. There you go. Absolutely. Tommy Ghost, my friend. I'll keep Ugarte. He'll be informed. Let's hope so, my friend. 27 points. Yeah, absolutely. You think we're going to get 27 points, Kenny? Well, hey, I hope so. He lost at 9 times 3 is 27, by the way. There you go, guys. He lost form at the end of last season, and it carried all the way through the preseason, and he's still here sloppy, tackling late to the ball. He just looks lost. Absolutely. Big up, Chasen, my friend. Big up. Good comments coming in. We gave away the lead too early, and Arsenal, which has one of the best defenses, played a low block to yeah, mate. But you know what I would say about Arsenal to counter this, right? Yeah, they did that. But that's a compliment to us because they obviously were scared of Man United. You know, and what I would say is this, right? They can't do that all season. They can't. There are better teams, unfortunately for them. But yeah, Arsenal are well more, and we have to be honest, Arsenal are much more advanced in their development than we are. They've had, I mean, obviously, even the new signings have been there longer than our players have been there. Do you know what I mean? So look, they're much more advanced than us. And you know what? I was very impressed with the way Man United played, you know, in general. But obviously, scoring goals is what win games, and we didn't score any. Tommy, Man United should give Amorim time. He knows what he's doing. I agree with that, mate. Absolutely. Kay, maybe we should sell Garnacho for 35 million just to get Lemenzo. Good, I think I read that one. Do you think Heaton would have player better than Bayindir? Yes, he would have. Yep. Big up, Grayer. What's going on, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Afternoon, Boa. Hope you're well. We played well yesterday and were robbed. Regarding the goalkeeper situation, I think our best option is Martinez. Experience and assured. Absolutely. Or Donnarumma, which is the best goalkeeper in the world. We need a number one goalkeeper now, not an understudy. Big up, Stanley. Kay, Agree. Ahmad should have started. Okay, he should have. Yes. That was definitely a penalty when Cunha was fouled. Absolutely. I mean, I spoke about this morning, Kazi. And yeah, I think it was a penalty. That's my opinion. He went in the back of him, didn't win the ball. And people are saying there's not enough contact. How much contact do you need? I seem to remember a penalty against West Ham last season against Man United, which wasn't a penalty, right? Which wasn't a penalty. And remember Coote, who ended up getting fired, gave the penalty. And this has happened not only once or twice. This has happened numerous amounts of times for Man United. Loads of times for Man United. Jason, Ahmed is a great crosser with his right foot, which means to hit a good cross, he has to stop and switch over. He plays on the right, so he's a good crosser with his right foot. That means he should cross the ball if he's on the right. If he's on the right and he's got a right foot, it's more natural. He should be able to cross the ball. Look at Beckham. If he's on the left and he's got a right foot, then he should be able to cross the ball. He has to cut in and cross the ball. Kadesha isn't a great crosser with the right foot. Oh, sorry, I got you, Chasen. I got you. Yeah, I get you. You're absolutely right. Yeah. We came 15th and signed 3 players. We needed to sign 6 starting and got rid of a few as well. Absolutely. And Onana going to start against Fulham, so it could get worse. He'll probably make a mistake as well. Don't think Man United want to have 4 keepers on the payroll. We need to sell one of Onana or Blunder. I think Onana needs to go because he's a first-team goalkeeper. Blunder isn't classed as a first-team goalkeeper. He's a reserve. United feels optimistically better than this season, and I know it's a bit early, but there's still that something. And as much as we still need a CM and a striker, a goalkeeper, you mean? I see the difference. Amram needs a proper backing. I agree with that, LT, and that's a goalkeeper and a midfielder at least. I agree. Arsenal time wasted. They do the dark arts very well. Arsenal. That's what they do. This is what they're about. They do the dark arts very well. They don't play football. I think they're overrated, mate, and they won't win anything. Absolutely. Big up Uchi, Circus League. Lamens is hardly an understudy. He is way better than Nana. I agree. I actually watched him. Prem has an agenda against United because the game was so against us. Their goal was a foul at the same time. Look, what I would say is that I don't think the Prem want Man United to win yesterday. I don't think they want Arsenal to win. I think they think Man United are not in a title challenge and they want a very strong title challenge this year for money. And that's what I think. Because not even checking the VAR, right? Not even checking the VAR. So what I would have done as a Man United player, as soon as that foul came in from Cunha, I would have chased that referee. I don't care. VAR, check VAR. Why are you not checking VAR? Why are you not checking VAR? And that's what I would have done. I would have made sure he knew about that, of course. I'm talking about first-team players, Kamali. First-team players, 3. And Mbumo, Cunha, and Sesko. Diego Leon came last season, by the way, but he's not a first-team player. Who else is there? First team. Big up, Sal. What did I miss? Big up, my friend. How you doing, my friend? Nothing much, my friend. Nothing much. Big up. 3 players signed. Not 4. Well, Leon was signed in January, and Leon is not a first-team player. Again, I'm talking about you know what, Jamie? He's not a first-team player. He's a backup player. He's not a proven player. I'm talking about ready-to-go first-team players here. Do you know what I mean? Like a Baleba, like that. We signed 3. Chelsea signed these players like Diego Leon all the time. Chelsea signed Estevez and players like Esteval and players like that. Where are they? It doesn't really matter. Rest will always have bids bias against us, and any decision will go against us. I hope it does. I hope that's not the pattern of the season as well, mate. From chance at the moment, and goalkeeper, please. Absolutely. DM and a goalkeeper. Absolutely. I agree with that, mate. Absolutely. Hello, Sal. Amro made us a foul to score. Would have bought Sesko just to start the second half. Marking Sesko would give Nomura and Cunha. Big up, Mikasa. Good to see you, Joseph Mikasa. Goalkeeper, etc. We are not going to get Donnarumma. Lamens would be. Who's your source, Grayo? Trust me, bruv. At the end of the day, look, we don't know what's going to happen, Grayo, so I won't speculate, mate. Milton, thought I feel Saliba was blocking and pushing up against Blunder for the goal. Not sure how the goalkeeper's and at the end of the day, Grayo, you've never seen Lamens play, mate. So don't underestimate Senny Lamens just because he's young. All right, don't underestimate him. Emi Martinez is a dark disaster waiting to happen. Look at the Aston Villa game. If you can remember it, Aston Villa last season, Grayo. Remember that? What did he do? Got sent off. Jason, just to highlight a Dorgu's shot. I mean, it's not to be disrespectful, but I watch football. I see a lot of players. I see the likes of Lamens and Donnarumma every day. It's not unrealistic to get Donnarumma. People are telling me it's unrealistic to get Mbumo. People are telling me it's unrealistic to get Cunha. People are telling me it's unrealistic to get Sesko. People are telling me on this stream the same thing. You never know. It's unlikely, but it's not unrealistic in my opinion. Actually, Cunha accounts on last season books as well. Exactly, Ellen. Exactly. Good evening, sir. What's the latest about signing midfield? Scroll back, my friend. I've been talking about it. Big up everyone who's joined me today. Absolute legend. Thank you, everyone who's joined the stream. Big conversations here. Big points. Great points, of course, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and smash a like on the video, guys. Very important you do that, guys, please. Helps with the algorithms and stuff like that. Thank you very much, guys. Don't forget to smash a like and don't forget to put the notifications on. Notifications on, guys. Guys, notifications on. And I get you, Gray, I'll get you, but let's not write off anything. You never know what's going to happen. You know, we're not going to get him. It's not what I do. I mean, I deal with facts, mate, and I deal with, well, we maybe get him. You never know. We got Mbumo, we got Cunha, let's hope, Gray. That's all I say, brother. Let's hope, mate. Let's see what happens. But if they don't do business, if they don't get a goalkeeper in there, we all know where we stand, don't we, Gray? Don't we? We know where we stand. Either we get Emi Martinez, whoever we get, it's going to be better than Onana anyway. But are we going to get him? Emi Martinez might be called back up to the Aston Villa squad anyway, I've heard. Big ups out everyone. Have a nice night. Big up Grayo. Big up everyone. Of course, the legends in the house, guys. Thank you so much, guys. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Smash a like on the video if you can be as kind. Thank you, everyone. You're absolute legends. Every single one of you, guys. Take it easy. Have a good night. And I'll be back tomorrow for Breaking Dawn. Nothing else breaks. Take it easy. I'm Sal Warner. This is Chatterbox. See you soon. Peace.